welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to cover a bit of advice how to choose your long run and easy run shoe and share a few of my favorite options. I've done a lot of easy runs and long runs, so I know how critical it is to have a shoe that's suited for easy and long runs and how important it is to have something that will hold up to the many kilometers you're going to put on it. If you have any video topics you'd like to see me cover, please tell me in a comment below. And as always, click the subscribe button and the bell icon so you can see more of my videos. So let's talk about how to choose a long run and easy run shoe. I love shoes so much. I can't even remember the last time I bought regular non-running shoes. But all I'm doing is running and I'm not going anywhere, so all I need are running shoes. But first off, let's discuss what is the definition of a long run or easy run shoe. Long run or easy run shoes typically have a little more cushioning than your, say, speed shoe. It really depends on how far you're going for how much cushion you actually need. If you're only doing short runs, you might not need the most cushioned shoe out there. However, I don't think it's harmful to run in cushioned shoes, but there's more of a risk to run in shoes that don't have enough cushioning in them, especially when you're going for super long runs and just you're doing all this pounding run after run, and I think it's just more important to have cushioning. Again, everyone is different and some prefer maybe a firmer cushion, but I personally love just having a super cushioned shoe that's light, responsive, and just will pamper my feet on the easy runs or just will hold up to all the long runs that I do. I want shoes not only to be comfortable but also last a while because I put a lot of kilometers on my shoes and I don't want to keep burning through them. So for me, that's really important when I consider my long run shoes or easy run shoes. I also think it's easy to think that if there's more cushioning that the shoe would actually be heavy, and that's not the case at all, especially with some technology recently, and a lot of the shoe brands are coming out with these cushioned and super light shoes, which I'm going to talk about in a little bit. But now I want to share a few details about the shoes that I currently love doing my easy and long runs in. The first shoe I'm going to talk about is my trusty, reliable, awesome New Balance 880 version 10 running shoes. This is probably my third pair of 880s and they have never let me down. New Balance uses their own cushioning called Fresh Foam. I would say the 880 is kind of in the middle. It's not the most cushioned shoe you can get, but also it's not a minimal shoe, and it has just enough cushioning to do a super long run in or you're just easy run in. It's not the lightest shoe I own, it's around 9.5 ounces for women. But they don't feel heavy on my feet when I run, so it doesn't really bother me that they're slightly heavier. The 880 has about a 10 mil drop, which I've talked about in my other video about why running shoes are important, so I'll have a link to that video in the description below. But basically, it's the distance from the toe here to the heel. It's not the highest drop shoe you can get. There's some that are even 12 mil drops, but I would consider this on the higher end of the heel drops. Some easy and long run shoes are just impossible to go fast in, but I have done some long runs with some workouts in the middle of them in these shoes, and they've been great. I wouldn't want to do like my intervals or my tempos in them, but for the long run, again, with some speed work in it, I wore them and I have no complaints really. It's a neutral shoe and all the shoes I'm going to show you are neutral because that's what I use, but there are other shoes that are stability that have cushioning in them, but I'm not going to cover them in this video. It's just I don't own any and I don't feel comfortable talking about shoes that I don't own. It's also good to know that the 880s fit true to size, so I typically wear a 7.5, so I got a 7.5 in the 880 and it's perfect. I just feel comfortable in the 880s, and no matter what other shoes I go to, I always come back to them and I really feel so comfortable in them. They're only $165 and I can get, again, everyone's different in how many kilometers they can get out of shoes, but I can get quite a bit of kilometers in these, so that's always nice. I think I've had like turquoise color before and I can't remember the other color, but I just love these and I think I already have, I don't even know how many kilometers I have on them. Let's see. Keep track of your kilometers on your shoes, so important. Let's see, on these shoes I should know this, 216 kilometers, so I feel like I just got these, but long runs and easy runs add up, as that's the majority of what you do is easy runs, and your long run are obviously long, so it's important again to have shoes that will last longer, not just wear out after 200 or 300 kilometers. pair of shoes that I'm going to talk about that I love for long runs and easy runs is the Hoka Clifton 7. I actually own the Clifton 6s and got a lot of kilometers out of them. They were bright white, and you know what, I ran them all last winter and I cleaned them up, and now I just wear them for just walking around town. I just obviously wouldn't run in them because they're dead, but they're really nice for just walking. As you can see, these have a little more cushioning than the 880s. Hoka's kind of known for these super cushioned shoes, but also so light. I can't believe how light this shoe is. Hoka is a French company that's recently come into North America and have become so popular. They're especially known for their cushioned shoes that are also responsive and lightweight. It's so cool, as last year in the marathon trials in the States for the women, Alphine Tulmic actually won wearing Hokas. I mean, she's an amazing runner and she probably would have won wearing, I don't even know, any shoe off the street, but it's just cool to see that not a Nike shoe won the marathon trials. The few things that I just love about the Cliftons, how light they are. I just mentioned already how much cushion they are compared to the 880, but for example, the women is, oh no, can't remember, is 7.10 ounces. So if you think about the 880, it's about 3 ounces lighter than the 880, which is kind of a significant number. The upper is very lightweight as well, and it has kind of this like lip here to help you get your shoe on. I don't know what's that called, tab. The Clifton would be considered a low drop shoe as it only has a 5 mil drop. This is 5 mils lower than the 880s, which is quite significant. Some people say that a low drop shoe promotes a more midfoot strike and that you use your calves more, but really for me, I think it's important to have different varying heel drops in the shoes that you run in and rotate between. When you run in different shoes, especially ones with different heel drops, they use different muscles and tendons, which helps prevent overuse injuries as your body's constantly adjusting. Again, the Clifton is a neutral shoe and it's called balanced cushioning. Hoka uses EVA foam in their midsole and has this really cool thing called a meta rocker. What that means is that it's designed to kind of help propel you or rock you forward on your toe, helping you have a more efficient gait from your landing to your toe off. And the more efficient you are as you run, the less energy you waste and the longer and faster you can go, which is key. Again, this rocker helps with a smooth transition from heel to toe. There's no plate in this, which I've talked about in another video, but it does kind of help you move forward, and it's nice that you just don't feel like you have to work as hard just to go forwards. Hoka tends to be a little wider in the toe box and just in general. I found with the 7s that it fits a little bigger than the 6s, so some people I know have gone down a half size in the 7s. As long as you have a fingernail width between your big toe and the end of the shoe, you're fine. So just be aware of that if you get your own pair of Cliftons, just to make sure that you have that space and not too much space. The Clifton is just a good old workhorse shoe. It just will last for a long time while maintaining its responsivity and lightness, and just it's so comfortable to run in. For the amount of cushioning it has, it's only $170 Canadian, which I think is a pretty good deal, especially again for how many kilometers I will get out of these shoes. Have you worn Hoka shoes, or in particular the Cliftons? If not, I highly recommend giving the Clifton a try. That I have in my long run, easy run shoe rotation are the Saucony Endorphin shifts. When I first saw them, I kind of thought they looked like Ronald McDonald shoes, but in a really cool way, not in a weird way. They're just so fun, and I just love running in them. Saucony has done a really good job recently with marketing and just developing some really awesome shoes the past few years. The Endorphin collection comes with the Shift, which is for easy or long run shoes, the Speed, which is for tempos or kind of speed workouts, or you can race in them too, and the Endorphin Pro, which is for race day. The Speed has a nylon plate, while the Pro has a carbon fiber plate. These don't have a plate in them, but they do have this kind of rocker in them, again, which similar to the Cliftons, helps propel you forwards without having the technology of a plate in them. I had just heard so many great things about the shifts in the Saucony line that I wanted to try it for myself. At first, it kind of felt like a lot of a shoe with like this big heel counter and, there's just a lot going on. But after taking it out for some runs, I love it. I especially love wearing the shifts on recovery days when my legs are super tired, and it kind of the speed roll just kind of pushes me forward or rocks me forward. The Shift also has a low heel drop similar to the Cliftons, but it has a 4 mil heel drop. So this is actually the lowest heel drop that I own in all of my shoes. Saucony uses their own form of cushioning, which is called the Power Run cushioning, which is very responsive and light. I say it's light, but it actually is the same weight as my New Balance 880s with a weight of 9.5 ounces in the women's shoe. Again, none of my shoes feel really heavy, but in kind of comparison to this, yeah, I can feel the difference that this is much lighter. I really want to try out the Saucony Endorphin Speeds, so I'll let you know when I do and what my thoughts are on it. For some reason, I can't remember exactly why when I was purchasing them, but I went an entire size up to an 8.5 in the shifts. I probably could have gotten away with an 8, but I just felt like I needed a little more room than I was given in the shifts, but maybe that's just my feet were swollen, I don't know why, but just so you know, I went up a whole size in the shifts. White shoes can be scary, but it's actually not too bad. You just kind of have to wipe it, or I use an old toothbrush to kind of wipe it off, but they're so fun and I'm really glad that I got them and love running in them. The fourth shoe that I use for my long runs and my easy runs is the Saucony Ride 13. This pair of shoes is very similar to the 880s in both feeling and kind of the cushioning as well. It has a heel drop of 8mm, which is only 2 different than the 880s. So just a small difference, but it is good to have a difference in heel drops, as I've mentioned before. I know this doesn't have any impact on how it feels when you run, but they have really soft laces. Like, they're just like very squishy. I read about them and I wanted to give them a try, especially I just wanted to compare them with the 880, as this is kind of Saucony's version of the 880 shoe, and just see which one I liked better. It also uses Saucony's Power Run cushioning just like the shifts do. In the women's shoe, it weighs about 8.6 ounces, so it is a little lighter than the 880s, but to be honest, I don't really feel a huge difference between them when I'm wearing them, separately of course. The upper is quite nice and just feels soft, like everything feels soft, and especially like on the kind of the heel here, it's just really soft. As I just said, I can't think of other words than soft today, but it's just really comfy. So I do like running in the rides, but if I had to choose between the rides and the 880s, I probably would stick to my trusty 880s. I don't know, I just feel that it's a little too soft. I don't know, maybe I'm just crazy. This has a little firmer upper, so my foot feels a little more secure, but basically the same shoe, so it probably all in my head, but I do think I prefer the 880 despite still liking the rides. The Saucony rides also fit true to size, so I wear a 7.5 in them just like the 880s. It costs $165 just like the 880s, so it really is a personal preference thing. They're both great shoes. Have you tried either? I'd love to know what you think in a comment below. I do love both. I love all my shoes. I love shoes. I can't stress enough how important it is to have the right pair of shoes for each kind of thing that you do, whether it's long runs, easy runs, or speed workouts. As I said before, it's so important to have a shoe that's cushioned enough and that will hold up to the many kilometers you'll put on it for your easy runs, or just if you just run for fun, you want a shoe that's going to last a long time. But shoes are not designed to last forever, and it's really important that you track the kilometers that you have on your shoes. This way you can help prevent injuries. It all depends on what type of runner you are, but with long run shoes, you should be able to get over 400 kilometers at least in them. You'll know, especially if you run like a lot and you kind of feel a little achy after a while, that might be a sign to get new shoes. But again, keep track in an app or just write it down, as that will just kind of keep you aware of how many kilometers you have on them, and then you won't run in the same shoe for like 4 years. Please don't do that. For me, the most important thing in a long run and easy run shoe is the amount of cushioning. I want something that's going to kind of take the impact, so I kind of just have a break on my long runs as you're out there for so long. So you want something that's going to absorb that pounding. I also just like having a cushioned shoe as it's really comfy, and I just want to pamper my feet a bit. I know there are so many different shoes out there that you can use for long runs and easy run shoes, but I wanted to share the ones that I'm currently using and just share why I love them and why I have them in my rotation. I love that I have varying heel drops all the way from 4 to 10 millimeter difference. So it's always giving my body something to adjust to, so I don't get any overuse injuries or just help prevent them. I don't want to wear my shoes kind of day after day. I want to rotate between them, so it gives them a chance to kind of uncompress the cushioning and just helps them last longer. You don't need to have 4 long run or easy run shoes, but for the amount that I run, I just like having the ability to kind of rotate between them, and so I don't have, again, run back-to-back runs in the same shoe. What long run shoes do you use? I'd love to know. Happy long runs and easy runs and recovery runs, and I'll see you next time.